Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, maybe the war in Ukraine will slowly ooze into Europe, as I think it will be, because you're going to have a lot of, passion, and not only passion, but you're going to have the capability to inflict pain into your enemies. And as the European Union has its borders open, you can go through and travel however you want. So I'm pretty sure that there will be some groups that will act based on their passion and hatred and love or whatever feelings they might have. One example, I think, is just one step towards things escalating, is an attack, or however you want to call it, of some ambulances. So there are ambulances that are supposed to go to Ukraine. They were burned by someone. And that's interesting because it's the first act of this kind that occurred in Poland related to the Ukraine war. So, things will spread. And this is, say, it's a mild thing. It's a mild thing, but, after one comes another, another. Could be just a drunk guy who did something. Let's see what's going on here. This article comes from Ukrainska Pravda. Now, if Ukrainska Pravda thought that it's important for this to be covered, then must be more than we just get from the title. Ambulances intended for Ukraine were set on fire in Poland. This article comes from March 5th, 2023. A man suspected of deliberately setting fire to ambulances intended to help Ukraine has been detained in Poland. Now, a man. I tell you that I assure you that this man, that they don't give you at least anything so far here, they know by now everything about this guy. Everything meaning, his identity, his history. These are known in the first hour. I tell you that for a fact. All right? Especially in time of war. And this guy is suspected of doing that. You know about these guys. As in an hour, there's many departments that will provide you with the information necessary to know who that person is. Maybe even his intentions already after a little set of interviews conducted with him. Or anyway, let's see what else. Source is the Polish TV N24 TV channel, as reported by European Pravda. The incident occurred on 4th of March. So that means they had so much time to figure out who's who, what's what. I think right now it is just the determination what to say. So, okay, what do we say? What's the script? What is going to be the communique? What do we tell these weasels, which is the population, what happened? Who's this guy? What his motives are? They can say, well, war comes to Poland now, my Polish fellow citizens, because of our support for Ukraine and love of freedom. I don't think a lot of Polish will say, was that meant to happen? They will come and say something else, or something, again, freedom, democracy, love, and all that. The incident occurred on 4th of March after 10 o'clock p.m. Firefighters received a report of a burning car in the parking lot of the Rudlow Municipal Administration in the Lesser Poland Voivodeship. As it turned out, an ambulance was set on fire. Well, I said two, didn't say ambulances. All right. Okay, 2 fire brigades arrived at the scene. However, the ambulance, again, burnt to the ground. The fire also damaged a second ambulance, parked nearby, and 2 other cars. These 3 vehicles are likely to be repairable. Police officers and a fire expert worked at the scene on the morning of March 5th. Quote, everything points to arson. At night, We detained one person suspected of committing this crime, but he has not yet been interrogated. Oh my God, said Tarnow police spokesman Pavel Klimet. Details: in the afternoon, police officers reported that a 35-year-old man had been detained. 2 ambulances and 2 other vehicles were to leave on the morning of March 5th as part of a humanitarian convoy to Ukraine organized by the Future Force Foundation. A total of 10 vehicles, particularly 6 ambulances and 5 pickup trucks, were to go to Ukraine. After the fire, the convoy was reduced to 4 ambulances and 2 pickups. The second part of the transport, 2 trucks with medical equipment, was not damaged and also left for Ukraine. The burned ambulance was intended for a hospital in the city of Kharkiv. The Future Force Foundation is currently raising funds to purchase a new ambulance. Okay, so in early February, the EU handed over trucks, off-road vehicles and ambulances to the Ukrainian armed forces. So, we'll see how these guys are going to water it down and how they're going to write the script for us. Because they can say, well, definitely we're not going to say this, which I obviously don't know what happened. I mean, I know what happened, but I don't know more than that. Didn't call my connections yet. But they will not say, well, a Polish, 35-year-old Polish doctor decided to burn this because what he thinks the unjust war against Russia waged by NATO troops, and he loves freedom and democracy and wants the war to end by burning ambulances. Okay, all right. Or he's not going to say, well, this is a Polish resistance group that fights for freedom and love and democracy and peace, and they are against the Ukraine war unprovoked by the NATO alliance, waged against Russia. It's not going to be something like that. Even if that, let's say, would be the case, they would say something else. They would say that a 35-year-old terrorist with mental health issues, because only something like this could do some things, but when we do something like that, it's justified in the name of freedom, democracy, and defending, and you know what I mean? So something along these lines. And probably he's gonna be a Russian, could be, as I said, mentally ill, and who knows? Maybe they say, we don't know why he did it. He's just misguided, because you can't have a different idea about the war in Iran, in Ukraine. Nevertheless, do I agree with that? No, I don't. I disagree with that. Medical personnel goes over there and, takes care of the wounded, whomever those might be. But, he has the freedom to act. And then actions or behavior has consequences. And the consequences are not going to be good for this guy. Well, for good reason. But my point is, war will expand. And remember, you're dealing with the Wagner Group that was already demonized for good reason or for bad reason. Remember, as of now, there are allegations, there are accusations. Those mean nothing until proven in court of law. You bring your evidence, arguments, the other one brings counter-arguments, That's how you decide in the end if it's an impartial trial, like the Nuremberg trial. Then you're gonna determine who's who, what's what. Until then, you're innocent. So when these guys are calling the Wagner Group, I don't defend whatsoever. I'm just pointing out that I don't think even Reuters and Associated Press calls them, they're accused of Wagner Group. But on the other hand, they say they're terrorists. I mean, it's like I accuse you of stealing something, and then I say, when I refer to you, I say you're a thief. Thief Gigi. Well, a minute, it was not determined. I sue you for that, defamation or whatever. No, in this case. So anyway, remember, let's say the Wagner Group or others that we never heard, or maybe, Russian military or whatever they have over there. Let's say they have all kind of cells in Europe, like the other ones have in Russia as well, right? They decide to start creating panic and terror in Europe. What do you think is going to happen? We are going to be, you actually, but that could happen in the United States as well, are going to be hurt. Why? Because these weasels are going to get more power. They will say, well, we need to defend you, therefore we're going to infringe more of your liberties. We're going to narrow in like this, and we're going to tell you what to do through mandates and other, executive orders and all that. And you're going to have to do it because we are here to protect you. Okay, we are in charge. After all, you voted for us. So that's how democracy works. And that's what happens. And with the thing with over there with the ambulances, if that would happen in the United States of America, let's say, there could be an emergency, whatever, and they're going to say, everybody home, blah, blah, blah. They can take power, more power, based on this kind of incidents. Do you say, well, they should? Well, it should be proportionate, don't you think? The same when, it's a punishment for someone, conviction, that should meet the crime. You can't just say, well, he stole a pencil and we're going to sentence him to death. You have to be proportionate, right? For that, 2 slaps and 1 elbow, and that's it. All right, I'm just saying. But if that goes to a different end, has to be proportionate. Meet the crime, the punishment. Fit the crime. So the same here. But I'm expecting more, and with weapons. I'm expecting bazookas. I'm expecting bazookas hitting airplanes, a takeoff or landing. A lot of things can happen. Dams that could be. I mean, there's many objects and locations that these criminals or entities could attack. And believe me, Europe is a big country, as the United States, America is. I mean, it's dangerous. All this opened a big can of bullshit, and the problem is that Russia, and not only Russia, because there are certain entities in Europe and in the United States that really see this as an example, and say, oh, they did it. Well, how about we? Let's start whatever. So I'm waiting, not like, oh my God, but I'm expecting more to happen, and even harsher than this, because they have the weapons, more weapons now on the black market, and they will say, okay, now it's time to do this and do that. I'm waiting, and I'll be making videos on that, unfortunately. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.